Harper Lynn stepped through the revolving glass doors of Edison Tech Solutions, the morning sun casting sharp reflections on the sleek, mirror-like surfaces of the lobby. The air inside was cool, conditioned to a crisp perfection that contrasted with the lingering warmth of her early morning run. Sweat still dampened her simple gray tank top and black leggings, and her damp hair was pulled back into a casual ponytail. She clutched her water bottle in one hand, and in the other, a lightweight backpack hung loosely by its straps. This was no typical first-day ensemble at a company where tailored suits, polished shoes, and state-of-the-art gadgets were the unspoken wardrobe. As she moved past the reception, the polished floors gleamed beneath her sneakers, she felt eyes discreetly following her. A few employees near the coffee station exchanged glances, some smirks barely concealed beneath polite smiles. Harper's understated appearance seemed to spark silent questions. Was she truly part of the team or some sort of temporary intern? Ethan Brown, the manager of one of the key tech teams, spotted her from across the room. Towering and always impeccably dressed in crisp shirts and dark jeans, Ethan prided himself on maintaining the hierarchy. Spotting Harper's casual look at odds with the company's usual standards, a condescending grin crept across his face. "You there," he called out loudly enough to draw a few curious looks. "You're the new intern, right? Great. I need you to grab some backup cables from storage and tidy up these desks before the morning scrum. And maybe next time, try wearing something a bit more professional." His tone was laced with mockery as he eyed her damp clothing. Harper nodded faintly, a quiet smile on her lips. "Right away," she said softly, without correcting him, and turned to walk past the gathered staff with steady resolve. Harper's soft affirmation, "right away," echoed faintly beyond the cluster of desks, but instead of veering toward the storage room as Ethan Brown had ordered, she continued forward with intent, heading toward the HR department. The hum of computers and low conversations buzzed around her, but her pace was steady and unhurried. She passed stunned coworkers, some exchanging puzzled looks, others whispering quietly, but Harper's eyes remained focused ahead, unwavering. Ethan's smirk faltered a moment as he realized she was not going to fetch cables or clean desks. His confident facade flickered, replaced by a flush of irritation. "Wait," he called after her, but Harper didn't look back. His laughter wavered, trailing off as he muttered, "Probably just doesn't know her place yet." Harper's footsteps carried her down the polished corridor to a quiet wing of the building where Linda Morgan, the chief human resources officer, awaited. The reception area was bright but understated, planted with sleek ferns and modern art that reflected the company's cutting-edge ethos. Linda rose, smoothing her tailored blouse, offering Harper a warm smile. "Harper, we're glad you're here," Linda said, gesturing toward a leather chair beside her desk. "We've been expecting you at this hour." Harper took a seat, relaxing her shoulders. "Thank you, Linda. I'm eager to get started." Her voice was calm but assured, the faint tone of someone used to command. Linda glanced at a neatly typed agenda on her desk before meeting Harper's eyes. "I've heard some confusion down on the floor. Ethan Brown mistook you for an intern. I believe you're aware of that?" Harper gave a slight smile. "I didn't correct him. Sometimes it's instructive to see how people act when they think you're someone else." Linda nodded thoughtfully. "A strategic choice. Ethan has a strong sense of hierarchy, but it's good for him, and the team, to recalibrate their assumptions." She slid a folder across the desk, revealing Harper's official appointment letter and position outline. "You're the new division lead of software development. The CTO, Marcus Wells, has full confidence in your leadership. Your role spans oversight over several key projects, including teams led by managers like Ethan." Harper picked up the letter and scanned its contents briefly, details of her responsibilities, reporting lines, and upcoming meetings. Her practical mind already calculated the challenges ahead. Linda continued, "You bring a wealth of experience, extensive work in AI development and successful leadership at large tech firms. Your record for transforming projects that were behind schedule is impressive." Harper nodded. "I look forward to contributing. I arrived from my morning workout to get a genuine sense of the office atmosphere, which is why I came here as I am today." Linda smiled, clearly approving. "I admire that honesty and humility. Sometimes the best leadership begins with observing, not announcing." Meanwhile, back on the main floor, Ethan had gathered a small group of colleagues near the coffee station. His voice carried a mixture of condescension and misplaced pride. "Did you see the new intern today? Walked right past me like she was above fetching cables. Came in gym clothes, no less. Talk about not knowing the culture here." A couple of programmers chuckled uneasily, glancing over toward Harper's fading silhouette. Ethan braced himself against a desk, confidently scanning for an ally. "She's probably just lucky to get a foot in the door. This place doesn't work like a playground." Maya, one of Ethan's quieter team members, frowned slightly but kept her gaze fixed on her laptop screen. Harper's unusual first impression was no secret, and the whispers rippled across office spaces, questions about her competence intertwined with assumptions driven by appearances. Ethan's swagger edged into arrogance as he leaned closer to his teammates. "She might have credentials, but this job's about fitting in, proving yourself. Let's see how long before she gets rattled." Yet beneath Ethan's words, a flicker of uncertainty sparked. Harper had quietly defied him, and she was already steering her own course away from his expectations. That unshakable stride unsettled the easy dynamics he relied on. As the day unfolded, Harper moved deliberately to a reserved conference room to prepare for her initial meeting. She allowed herself a brief moment to reflect while reviewing files and project briefs on her tablet. The tech division was ripe for reinvigoration, but she knew the work would require patience and resolve. She settled into a corner seat, scanning a list of the teams reporting to her, skilled developers clouded recently by internal friction and unclear direction. Her mind ran over strategies, fostering collaboration, reinforcing accountability, and leveraging the unique talents visible in each member. The door opened briefly as Linda stepped in with a quiet knock. "The CTO will introduce you officially this morning. Everyone's expecting a team-wide announcement." Harper nodded, appreciating the clarity. "Good. Transparency is crucial. The sooner the old assumptions dissolve, the better." Linda smiled softly. "Agreed. I suspect some of the staff will be surprised. Their perceptions have been shaped more by image than actual leadership." Harper allowed herself a small smile. "Then this is an opportunity, not just a challenge." Back in the main floor's hum of activity, Ethan continued to boast to his dejected but attentive audience. His voice carried a shade less certainty now. He caught a glimpse of Harper through the doorway, calm, composed, focused. The contrast was jarring. "What's she really planning?" Ethan muttered to himself. Across the office, muted conversations buzzed. Whispers shifted from skepticism to curiosity. Harper took a last sip of water and closed her tablet, standing with a quiet confidence. This was the moment to step into the light, to rewrite how the team saw her and, more importantly, how the team would be led. She adjusted her ponytail, cast a final glance at the sleek, glass walls reflecting the energetic hive of Edison Tech Solutions, and headed toward the main conference room. Ethan's earlier mockery was just noise now, a fading echo in the presence of a leader who was not defined by appearance but by purpose. The conference room filled steadily with pulses of quiet conversation and the sharp clicks of laptops closing. Light filtered through the expansive glass walls, illuminating the sleek rectangular table where the gathered tech teams settled into their seats. The walls were decorated with bold posters of past product launches and motivational slogans that emphasized innovation and excellence. The air pulsed with the usual pre-meeting energy, half expectant, half apprehensive. At precisely 10 a.m., the subtle murmur ebbed as Marcus Wells, the chief technology officer, strode into the room with commanding presence. He was a tall man in his late 40s, exuding a sharp professionalism tempered by a genuine warmth behind his steel-gray eyes. His dark blazer was impeccable, and his voice when he spoke carried the authoritative clarity that had earned him respect throughout the company. "Good morning, everyone," Marcus began, his gaze sweeping the room. "Today, I have the pleasure of introducing a new leader to our software development division. Please join me in welcoming Harper Lynn." Harper sat to the side, poised and composed. Her simple yet confident posture radiated calm assurance. She wore a clean, fitted blazer over her gym clothes, a deliberate choice to balance her practical morning attire with the expectations of the office. The room's low light glinted off the subtle silver barrette in her hair. Marcus shifted to the front, clicking a remote to display Harper's professional profile on the large screen. Crisp photos of Harper leading teams, snapshots of award ceremonies from Silicon Valley, and key project highlights filled the background. He spoke with steady admiration. For those who may not know, Harper brings 5 years of transformational leadership experience in artificial intelligence and software development, including successful tenures with several multinational tech firms. She has earned accolades for delivering major projects ahead of schedule and revitalizing underperforming teams. Her vision aligns strongly with Edison Tech's commitment to innovation and collaboration. A murmur rippled from the assembled staff. Many exchanged surprised glances as the weight of her credentials settled in. Marcus turned back toward Harper. Harper will be overseeing all software projects within this division, including the teams managed by Ethan Brown. We expect her to lead with fairness, clarity, and focus. Harper, would you like to say a few words? Stepping forward, Harper's voice was calm and clear, cutting through the lingering whispers. "Thank you, Marcus, and good morning everyone. I appreciate the warm welcome and the opportunity to lead this talented team. My approach to leadership is grounded in transparency and respect, qualities I believe foster an environment where great ideas and strong collaboration can thrive." She glanced around the room, making deliberate eye contact with several of the younger engineers sitting near the back. "You might be wondering about my appearance today. I came here straight from a morning workout. It was a deliberate choice to observe this environment honestly, without pretense. I believe that leadership is not about what you wear, but about actions and the impact we have together. I'm here to listen, to support, and to lead with humility." The atmosphere shifted noticeably. The casual judgments and whispered doubts that had accompanied her earlier arrival dissipated as the room absorbed her composure and conviction. Suddenly the double doors swung open and Ethan entered, slightly out of breath from having been pulled into a last-minute discussion elsewhere. He paused, eyes scanning the space. His gaze settled abruptly on Harper seated confidently at the head of the table, her notes neatly arranged before her. The sight pierced his self-assured bubble like a sudden chill. Ethan's face betrayed a sequence of emotions: disbelief, confusion, then an unspoken humiliation. It was as if he'd been caught off guard in a position he hadn't anticipated. The smirks he had worn earlier were now replaced by a furrowed brow and a tightening jaw. His lips parted, but no words came. The room seemed to hold its breath. Several people noticed Ethan's stunned reaction, and whispers grew quieter, replaced by curious anticipation. The previous easy atmosphere was charged with something more serious now, a heightened awareness that the balance of power had shifted. Harper, aware of Ethan's presence, offered no sign of triumph. Her expression was steady, composed, no pleasure in his discomfort, only professional resolve. It was a silent message. Her role was not about personal drama, but responsibility. Marcus gave Ethan a brief, pointed nod, acknowledging the moment but moving on. "Let us now proceed with today's agenda," he said. "Harper will lead us through the immediate priorities and project timelines." Harper rose smoothly, a natural presence filling the room. She connected her laptop to the large screen and pulled up the division's project dashboard, displaying critical deadlines and status indicators. The quiet tapping of keyboards and note-taking resumed almost immediately, but with a palpable shift in energy, a mix of focus, respect, and cautious optimism. She began outlining the ongoing initiatives, emphasizing integrated communication, accountability, and shared goals. Her tone was direct but encouraging, inviting collaboration rather than imposing command. Questions emerged from different corners, sparked by Harper's open invitation, and her responses demonstrated not only technical expertise but a thoughtful grasp of team dynamics. As the meeting progressed, Ethan remained seated at the back, his earlier embarrassment giving way to guarded attentiveness. He watched Harper lead with a measured authority that brooked no nonsense but valued the team's input. It was clear to everyone present that the hierarchy he had taken for granted was realigning, and Harper was steering that change. By the time the meeting wrapped up with a clear outline of next steps and an open invitation for follow-up discussions, the mood had decisively shifted. Skepticism had been replaced by respect. Casual judgments gave way to recognition of Harper's leadership. As staff filed out, occasional nods and tentative smiles were exchanged in her direction, revealing a subtle but significant breakthrough. Ethan's earlier dismissal now seemed distant, a misstep he would have to reckon with. Harper glanced once more around the room, noting the blend of curiosity and cautious acceptance. The next chapter of Edison's software division had begun, and she was ready to lead. The conference room emptied slowly, but the sense of tension and anticipation lingered like a charged current in the air. Harper settled momentarily at the head of the table, steady and poised, her gaze sweeping over the scattered notes and project charts still displayed on the screen. Outside, the normal rhythms of the office continued, keyboards tapping, low conversations resuming, but inside, a subtle but profound shift had occurred. Marcus Wells remained standing nearby, his trademark calm steady as he addressed the small group of remaining senior staff. "Harper Lynn joins us with significant accomplishments," he began, voice clear and articulate. "She's led major AI development teams based in Silicon Valley, turning around projects tangled in delays and technical setbacks. Her work earned her prestigious awards in innovation and leadership." His words carried weight, each characteristic a quiet declaration of Harper's substantive credentials. "Most importantly," Marcus continued, "Harper brings a leadership style that emphasizes respect and practicality over formality. She's known to dress simply, often sportswear if it suits the day, because she believes effectiveness and character matter far more than appearances. She challenges assumptions and values how people behave when the spotlight isn't on them." His eyes glanced meaningfully toward the doorway where Harper had entered earlier that morning, dressed casually. The room absorbed this, a noticeable tension simmering beneath the surface, a blend of surprise and newfound respect that shifted the atmosphere palpably. Laughs or gossip were replaced with attentive silence and thoughtful nods. The mockery and jokes that had surrounded Harper's arrival evaporated under the gravitas of her merits and the CTO's endorsement. Harper herself spoke up, voice measured yet warm. "I'll be candid. I chose to come straight from my morning workout today. There's no glamour in what I'm wearing, and that's intentional. It allowed me to enter the environment without filters, to see and hear authentic reactions, how people carry themselves when not expected to impress." Her eyes met those of several team members, steady and unflinching. "I want to lead this division by valuing transparency, accountability, and humility. Dress, like many things, can be a mask. My values come from many years working abroad and with diverse teams, where results matter more than appearances or status symbols. I'm here to listen, to learn, and to build trust. That's what effective leadership requires. A quiet murmur of agreement passed through some of the senior engineers and team leads present. A sense of something fresh, genuine, and purposeful seemed to settle around her words. The team was beginning to see not just the new manager, but the philosophy she represented. Linda Morgan added from the side, Harper's background also includes revitalizing teams that were struggling. Her strategic approach to workflow and team dynamics has been proven to increase productivity while reducing burnout, a balance many here would welcome. Harper nodded appreciatively. Exactly. I will be looking closely at our current workflows and communication channels. We have enormous talent here, but to unlock it fully, we need clear goals and mutual respect. I'm committed to fairness in evaluating contributions, to supporting your growth as individuals and as a collective. The CTO gave a slight smile, genuine admiration in his eyes. Her leadership philosophy fits perfectly with Edison Tech's goals, not just technical innovation but building a culture that endures. Harper is here not to shake the boat unnecessarily, but to steer it confidently toward greater success. Harper took a moment before addressing her new team directly. This division has impressive potential. I expect us to work together, openly addressing challenges and celebrating successes. I will be scheduling individual meetings soon to hear your perspectives and ideas. For now, let's focus on the critical project timelines approaching and ensure our communication stays sharp and clear. She paused, then added with a quiet strength, I've already noticed some cultural assumptions and habits we may want to reassess. Leadership should be earned every day, through actions, respect, and competence, not titles or appearances. I welcome your feedback throughout. As she finished, several team members exchanged approving looks, some nodding in agreement. The once tense atmosphere began to dissolve into a spirited sense of possibility. This was not just a change in management. It was the start of a renewed culture anchored in trust and inclusivity. Later, when asked about her unconventional arrival attire during an informal hallway conversation, Harper offered a candid smile. I wanted to enter the day authentically, without the usual preparation or dressing up. It's important to me to see the team as they really are, and for them to see me honestly. It's a small test of assumptions, which often reveal more than words. Her simplicity and frankness earned quiet respect among the staff, many of whom found her approach both refreshing and inspiring. It was clear she preferred substance over style, depth over pretense. Meanwhile, Ethan Brown watched from a distance, his earlier arrogance softened by an uncomfortable humility. He realized that Harper's presence was more than a management change, it was a challenge to his long-held notions of power and influence within the division. For the first time, he found himself reconsidering his stance, caught between resistance and reluctant acknowledgement. When Ethan finally faced Harper privately, his tone was restrained but sincere. I misjudged you, he said quietly. It's clear I need to adjust how I see things, and how I work moving forward. Harper accepted the apology with a nod, her expression neutral but kind. I'm glad you're willing to adapt. There's a lot of work ahead, and we'll need everyone pulling in the same direction. That moment signaled a subtle but important shift in the office dynamics. Respect was no longer assumed by rank or appearance, it had to be earned and demonstrated. Harper prepared to meet the division's challenges head-on, grounded in a leadership philosophy that valued authenticity, clarity, and the power of collective effort. Her calm authority and unpretentious style set the tone for a department ready to evolve and thrive. In the days following the announcement, the office's undercurrent of tension transformed into a wave of whispered conversations and visible shifts. Among the most affected was Ethan Brown. His confidence, once unshakable, now trembled beneath the weight of the changes sweeping the division. Marcus Wells summoned Ethan discreetly to the executive suite. The sleek glass walls offered a panoramic view of the city, but inside the room, the air was heavy with seriousness. Marcus's expression was firm yet measured as he addressed Ethan. "Ethan, it has come to our attention that your conduct towards Harper Lynn was unprofessional and undermined the cohesion of your team," Marcus began. "Edison Tech Solutions values respect and collaboration above all. As such, you are being relieved of your managerial duties effective immediately." Ethan's jaw tightened. The announcement landed like a cold wave. "Is there room for reconsideration?" he asked cautiously, voice lowering. Marcus shook his head. "At this stage, we believe reassignment and retraining will best serve both you and the division. You will transition to a technical specialist role, focusing on coding and development without managerial responsibilities, while undergoing leadership training." The reprimand was clear and decisive. Ethan nodded, subdued, realizing resistance would be futile. As he exited the executive suite, the tension in his shoulders remained, but a flicker of awareness about his own shortcomings had taken root. Word of Ethan's reassignment traveled quickly throughout the office. Employees who had previously whispered doubts and speculated about Harper's arrival now found cause to voice support openly. Maya, the young programmer who had earlier been reserved, approached Harper one afternoon with a tentative smile. "Harper, I just wanted to say, it's inspiring how you handled everything. The way you lead, it's different, but good. It feels like we can actually make progress." Harper's expression softened. "Thank you, Maya. I'm here to help and listen. Your perspective is invaluable." Small but meaningful interactions like these multiplied. Colleagues began volunteering to collaborate on projects, sharing ideas more freely, and embracing the renewed sense of purpose Harper fostered. Harper's daily presence in the workplace evolved into a consistent force, walking the floor with a casual confidence that neither demanded reverence nor invited complacency. She stopped by desks, asked about challenges, and offered support without micromanaging. She fostered an environment where questions were welcomed, and mistakes seen as opportunities to learn. One afternoon, as Harper reviewed project timelines in the open workspace, Ethan approached her tentatively. "Harper," he began, his tone low and respectful. "I wanted to apologize again. I was wrong to dismiss you. If there's a way I can contribute and earn back trust, I'm ready to do the work." Harper looked up from her tablet, her gaze steady but not unkind. "I appreciate your sincerity, Ethan," she said evenly. "We all make mistakes. What matters is how we move forward. Focus on your work, embrace the training, and demonstrate collaboration. That will speak louder than words." He nodded, a mix of relief and resolve flickering across his face. That interaction marked a quiet turning point. The office atmosphere continued to evolve, growing more collaborative, more open to fresh ideas and perspectives. Walkways previously dominated by checks and judgments gave way to shared conversations and mutual encouragement. The old hierarchy, once rigid and appearance-driven, softened under the steady influence of Harper's leadership. By midday, Harper would often walk through the rows of desks, exchanging brief greetings, her presence a steady confidence amid the hum of activity. She carried no airs, no grand proclamations, just clear-eyed focus and a genuine commitment to the division's success. One afternoon, as the sun slanted warm light through the office windows, Harper paused outside Ethan's new workspace. He was immersed in code, fingers flying over the keyboard. She gave a slight nod, acknowledging his efforts. Ethan glanced up, meeting her eyes for a brief moment that held no hostility, only a professional civility tinged with tentative respect. Harper returned the nod and continued on her way. The corridor fell back into its steady rhythm, punctuated by typing and soft discussions. This was the reality Harper had cultivated, one where authority was earned through action, respect was nurtured, and the promise of progress was tangible. At the end of her first week, Harper stepped into the atrium filled with glass and greenery, her posture relaxed but purposeful. The space, once just an impressive architectural feature, now seemed to mirror the transformation she had initiated, a bright, open environment where growth was possible. Her footsteps echoed softly as she walked toward the elevators. Ahead lay the challenges of the division, complex projects, and diverse teams, all requiring her leadership grounded not in appearances but in substance. Harper Lynn had arrived at Edison Tech Solutions not as an intern dismissed but as a leader firmly in command, self-assured and ready to shape the division's future with clarity and resolve.